This week on Finally Seen, Brittney Hall is my guest, and she's a business strategist, entrepreneur, wife, mom of two, and the co-founder and CEO of the Revenue Agency, where she helps business owners increase revenue, simplify growth, and build stronger systems behind the scenes. She understands what many entrepreneurs eventually discover, like myself. Most sales will not fix a business that is disorganized, overcomplicated, or overly dependent on the founder. The business has to run better, the leadership has to get stronger, and the systems have to support the life the owner actually wants. So I'm super pumped about getting to have this conversation. So today we're talking about revenue, leadership, motherhood, systems, and what it really takes to build a business that supports your life instead of consuming it. Hi, Brittney.
Hey, hi. Wow, that was a lot.
I'm so excited because as I was reading through your stuff, I'm like, yeah, I feel
Mm,
this. I feel
yeah.
this.
Yeah, right. I know. It's like the curse of the entrepreneur. It's just like, I mean, that's why like I do what I do. And because it's like, it's a real problem, and people need help.
Yeah, 100%. And, I tell this to people all the time. I wish I would have gotten my systems in place from
Mm,
the very beginning. And, I know a lot of people, they'll think, oh, I'm a solopreneur. I don't need systems.
hmm
You just never know. I kind of accidentally grew too fast. And by the
That's a good
time,
problem.
yeah, I mean, it was a really good
Yeah.
problem. But then I sat there and I was like, oh, I don't have my systems in place. I should, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And
Yeah.
that didn't feel good either.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think because I'm not a really like a super planned out person, so I think that a lot of people get into business because they're really good at something. And it's not usually the systems piece. It's like the people or a skill or, something. And so then they get going. And then what's kind of incredible about growth is it will either show you lack of systems or it will break what you're currently doing because you're going to be like, I'm doing everything manual and I don't have time. And then things start falling through the cracks. And then that's just feedback. And you go, okay, now I can build something that I actually need. So it's actually good feedback when things are messy and unorganized because you're like, all right, now I know where I need to fix this. So,
Yeah,
it's kind of a different way to
100%.
look at it. But, it's cool if you have a business that broke your system. It's like, wow, okay, I'm really doing something here.
Yeah, and I think the systems part is something that a lot of struggle or people struggle to like wrap their head around. What is something that I guess someone could maybe try and look at their business in a way to figure
Mhm.
out what that system needs to be?
Yeah, I mean, so I have a coaching group where I work with a lot of like solopreneurs, side hustle people, the people that they're like, I'm not generating enough revenue to really like invest in delegation. So I think the first place that I would start is time delegation. Like, where's your time going? That's huge. And a lot of people are very unorganized with their time. So, like, the first thing that I ever had to learn was like how to really keep a Google Calendar. And like I live and die by that thing. And my family's on it. Like we all see it, we share it, we know what everybody has going on. It makes marriage easier because it's like, oh, I have a meeting, but our son has camp. So, like, are you good to drive him? It's like all those things. But if that's not in order, like if your time's not in order, your life is going to feel chaotic. You're going to be mad. Usually we're going to blame somebody. And we're not going to, I don't know, like men necessarily, but like as a mom and a woman, I'm like, I'm dropping the ball. And I don't like that. So I think that's one of the first, like, that's technically to me like a system and, a structure that's in place is like, you got to get your time in order and know where it's going.
Yeah, for
So,
me, that was a really eye-opening experience. Whenever I sat down and literally wrote down everything I did, even the small stuff, and I
yeah.
wrote down how much time it took me. And once I looked at, I think it was like 30 hours or some insane amount of time that I could get back by delegating. And that's when I made my
hmm
first hire. I got a VA first, and then
Yeah.
it was scary because you think, okay, I'm going to be losing revenue, but
hmm
really it quickly came back so
Oh,
quickly.
1,000%. I remember when I was, so years ago, I grew in like the network marketing space. And that's where I learned so many things,
Yeah.
even though that can be kind of crazy depending. But I remember a trainer was talking about, it was a gal and she had built a really big business. And she was talking about, like hiring somebody to clean your house or like hiring somebody to do things around. And even my husband was saying that he had a mentor who built a very successful like excavation company who said a similar thing. He's like, if I can pay somebody to do what they do really well and get back a couple hours of my time, so like how much money could I make in those few hours if I went and really spent that time working in my business? And it's like, it's that even that kind of life delegation of, okay, if I could take that off my plate, but then you have the magic piece is you have to spend that time then working in your business, not out like shopping or something, because that would be way more fun. But, it's like, how much money could I make if I just could I replace the $200? Like, yeah, like for sure. You could. So, yeah, delegation, but it's a lot of times people are really scared because it's like, well, I'm losing money. It's like, no, I'm investing my money to get my time back so I can go do what I do really well. And, and it pays off.
Well, and it's been so fascinating because some of the things I now have a bigger team, but some of the things that this VA would create, I'm like, oh, actually, I wouldn't have even done that great of a job. So
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's like like certain people, it's like they're really great at like doing tasks or get like there's in one of the companies that one of my clients that I'm working with right now, he hired a VA and she like does all like he's a coach in the space and it's like reminders and the emails and this and she's on that calendar like a little taskmaster and she's like and I just keep giving her stuff like that because I'm like I will forget until an hour before it needs to be done. Like it will get done, but it's like that's not my genius zone. So it's like I love people who are wired like that because they just keep the trains running, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And I guess as we get older too, it's not necessarily that we all have s- scientifically ADD, but we feel scattered.
Totally.
And yeah, without the systems in place, like I tell my team, if it's not on my calendar, I'm going to forget.
Oh,
Like,
100%. Yeah.
so,
Yeah. If it's
and
not on my calendar, it does not exist in my world. It's like, no.
yeah. And I don't know about you, but I used to be able to remember, like, here's my whole week. I know it. But now I'm like, wait, check my calendar. What time is it again today?
Right? I know. It's like, what day is this? Yeah. And I even like on Sundays is always my time to like really like prep for my week, meaning like I look ahead. It's my time that I can focus on my business and then I execute for clients a lot during the week. But I even got into the habit of like I'll glance at the week. So like it's in the back of my mind. But then the night before I look at what does tomorrow look like? Like I literally will not really 100% know until the night before or the day before. I'm like, okay, yep, ready. Yep, good, good, good. All right, good. I'm ready to go for tomorrow versus like agonizing over something 3 days from now. So I think, and everybody's wired a little bit different like that. But it's important to know yourself to know even just how to execute like your calendar well.
Yeah, I found that I have to time block and I can't have my email up. If I have my email up,
Oh.
I started using this one app called Little Bird,
Oh.
and it like watches anything that you're doing on the screen. Like anything you see, it's going to see.
Oh, wow.
And after the first week of using it, I said, how productive was I? And it's like, to be honest, you context switched 26 times and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's even worse than I thought.
Oh my gosh. What an incredible tool though to become more aware.
Yeah, it
Because
was
it's like
super helpful.
it's almost like that kind of like hyperactive brain going, oh, okay. And oh, this, and oh, I have a notification over here and this and that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of do not disturb on my phone, just for all those little things. And then my ringer's never on either because it's like ding, ding. And I think that's something more common more and more. But I remember years ago, I was in so many group messages and just different businesses that I was like, I cannot have this dinging all day long, And so I'm a big fan of like turn notifications off and like have your productive time.
Yeah, I even tell clients, so like at the beginning of when we start working together, we design an alliance on like how we're going to work together. And
Oh,
I always say, own only if it's an emergency, because
yeah.
those interruptions when I'm pitching, like specifically if I'm doing pitches or having
Mhm.
to come up with strategy or something, I have to just focus.
Yeah.
And if you take me out of that, could have been something brilliant that was about to come out and it just
Right.
didn't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what when I'll get in, it's like being in the zone, like your creative zone. And like my husband and my kids know if these doors are shut, do not come in my office. It's like, or knock and like, maybe I just haven't opened them yet, but it's like, that's the signal that's like, mom's in the zone. Don't mess with her.
I'm glad you bring that up because I know a lot of women, they're working from home and
Mhm.
I worked from home while raising the kids and homeschooling the girls. And, now
Yeah.
they're 27. So
Mm.
our kids are all grown now. But
Yeah.
I do remember feeling pulled in so many directions all the time.
Yeah.
I found time blocking to be really helpful.
Yeah.
But what is your advice for that mom who's got the 5-year-old and 6-year
Oh
old going,
man.
mom, 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 mom?
I know it's so hard. When your kids are little, you have to work in little increments is like what I found. Your kids, they're going to need you more often, especially when they're little. Mine are almost 12 and 14 now. So like they're good. Like they can make themselves a sandwich. Well, my daughter for sure, the 14-year-old, my son, sometimes he's capable, but it's kind of a thing sometimes. But, so yeah, that's what I found when my kids were younger. I found that I got work done because a lot of us work on our phones, right? It's like I got work done in the carpool line. I got work done when I was waiting for them in like a piano lesson. It's like all that stuff. I worked from my car so much. But I was in a business where I could do that. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never been in the corporate world. Like that's different. Like a lot of people that have these corporate jobs working from home, that's really challenging. I also now, me and my husband work together. So he's here. When my kids were younger, he wasn't. He worked like 14-hour days and we'd see him he'd leave at 3 a.m. He'd get home at 4 or 5 at night. So it was a very different structure than like what our life looks like now. But that was the thing is I just thought I got to find the pockets. I got to find the pockets in my day. And then, it's amazing when you're focused, like we were talking about, how much you can get done. And I just had to find those little windows where I could win or get up before them. But then the other thing that I will say is really, really important because I remember I was growing a business. They were little, it was madness, but I always made time for them. And it was on my calendar every night. We had family time blocked on the calendar of mom and dad, no phones. Like, so they always look forward to that too. And it's easy when your kids know the structure like that because you can say, hey, listen, like you guys have got your toys, I'm going to put a movie on, or like, here's your lunch and whatever. And like, I just need 30 minutes. I'm going to come out. And then, it's like your kids will understand that more. I feel like they start to act out when they feel like they never get your attention.
Yeah.
And so I think that if moms are dealing with that, because I know I did, and it'll drive you crazy. You're like, I just have to get this thing done. But if they know that they get mom totally uninterrupted in a little bit, usually they're better at like allowing that time.
I like that idea. That's a neat
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that was like a game changer for us. Cause and then, you feel guilty. You're like, gosh, dang it. Like I have been on my phone all day. Like, I don't want to do that. Like I want to spend time with them and be with them. But you also want to grow and create your dreams in your business. So it's kind of this thing that's constantly kind of pulling. So once again, it's structure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like you, I've never been corporate. I remember, and I've said this story before, going to take your daughter to work day with my dad, and it was corporate. And I was like, oh God, no way. Couldn't do
Yeah.
it. I don't know how
No.
he did it. And I know my mom listens to my podcast, so she's going to hear me say this. She doesn't, I'm going to tease her right now and say she never even like likes it or comments, but I know she watches. But
Come on, mom, give it a like. Just kidding.
but yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how he survived. And so
Yeah.
I have always worked from home and being in the entrepreneur, and the Pomodoro method I found really
Hmm.
helpful for me. The 20 minutes of like
Oh.
just focus on one thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then I also found so much relief when I decided what are the 3 things that I absolutely have to get accomplished
Mm.
today.
Yeah,
And if I do, it's a success.
totally.
And that was really helpful for me. And because I remember so many days, and I know I hear this from a lot of women, at the end of the day, they're like, I'm so tired. I was so busy, but
What did
what
I
did I
do?
get done?
Yeah. 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 I think it's Brendan Burchard's planner. I don't know if you've ever, it's called like the High
Yes,
Performance Planner.
I have
Um,
it.
yeah. And I think it might ask that, like, if there's one thing that has to get done today, I'm thinking it says, but there's some like prompts like that. And every time I get a planner, I kind of like make it kind of like what I need it to be like in the spaces and everything. But I was in like a good flow using that for a while. And that was huge. Like what you're talking about is like, what's the one priority today? Like if this thing that moves the needle, in my business. And usually sometimes it's the things that we avoid or we forget about, which is crazy because it's the one thing that really moves us forward. We're like, oh, but I need to do this little thing that maybe will help. But a lot of times we get sucked into like the admin type work. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's not the stuff that's going to actually grow the business. So yeah, a great thing to focus on. Just like one thing every day.
Yeah. Something else that I wish that I would have done, and I started doing it more once I started taking myself a little more seriously,
Mm-hmm.
is not keeping all of the household duties on myself.
Oh yeah.
I know a
Yeah.
lot of times as women, we end up not only still being the homemaker, but
Mm-hmm.
also growing the business. And it's like, no wonder
Yeah.
we're exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. And your husband's like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, I know, like, like all of my energy is spent, which, I mean, I don't know. I always kind of like go there, but that's like real life, and it's not, this whole thing like women, we can have it all. It's like, I don't know if I want it all, like all on my plate, And so, yeah, I think that that's like a real thing. And I feel like I said, like when I was very first, like really building business, like, an entrepreneur, like taking it very seriously, my husband was working a lot. And so everything, and we lived out on like acreage. So like I would be listening to a podcast and have a backpack sprayer on and like, spraying weeds and mowing the lawn and all this stuff. Cause like, and he was working his butt off, providing an income for our family. So it was like we were both working so hard. And then when we weren't working, like in our like businesses or jobs, we were working around the house and then doing stuff with our kids. And we've always said we were always so capable that we just kept putting more on our plate. And I think entrepreneurs are that way. We're like, yeah, I can handle it. Yep, give it to me. I can handle it. But then you get so burned out over time because it's not sustainable. And so, yeah, that's why it's like, okay, what am I making all this money for if I can't like ask for help or delegate that the house gets cleaned? Or maybe in this season, I really need somebody to mow my lawn because it's out of control and I don't have any, and I feel bad about it every time I see it. It's like, what are those things that you can take off your plate? Earlier this year, I hired a coach to work with one-on-one. And I hadn't done that in a while. And she's like specifically like a CEO coach. And she was helping me really get clear on what are the things that absolutely have to be done by me, like in my life. And there was like 6. Like literally, it was like the business growth stuff. And then it was like, nobody else can be a mom to my kids. And like nobody else can be like a wife to my husband. And then literally there was certain things in our business on the deliverability side that have to be done by me. And that was really it. Like, if you really think about it, like, do I have to write the emails? No. Maybe I am the person to do it right now, but like, do I have to do that? Like, no. I could get somebody who's great at like, I mean, plus with all the AI and everything, you get Claude prompted up and then you're like, hey, plug in here and make it go. So there's a lot of ways that we can save time.
Yeah, 100%. You were saying that about your husband working and all this stuff too. It's like, my husband's also an entrepreneur.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, oh gosh, everybody's like, how is it over at your house? I'm like, it's bananas over here.
It's constant madness. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been trying to get him to read the Buy Back Your Time, the Dan
Oh
Martell
yeah. Yeah.
book, Buy Back Your Time, because but thankfully he's gotten AI to do a lot of stuff for him.
Mm-hmm.
But
And you guys are different businesses, like separate businesses?
yes,
Oh,
separate
okay.
businesses. Although it's funny, because I've always been in marketing, branding, PR, all that stuff. I've been in it for so long. Any business my husband's ever started, he gets an automatic person to, do all his marketing and
Oh,
build their
totally.
logos and websites and all that stuff. So I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But you know what? I even got to a point where I started pushing back on that even.
Yeah. You're
And
like, well, it's going to cost you. No, this is what I charge.
it's like right now he, wants help with AEO. And I'm like, well, I really can't afford to work on your AEO right now because my current workload. I was like, I can tell you what to do if you want to try and do it. And so, it's just setting my own boundaries on,
Yeah.
I want to grow my business as well. And so
Yeah.
I'm allowed to focus on it.
Totally. Yeah. Well, and I think it's funny, like in the like male female dynamic is a lot of times, and I work with a lot of male clients. And I don't think they mean to, because my husband will do that too. Like, well, hey, can you help me? Because we're partners. But it's like, but I think men are like, oh, well, but yeah, but she can help me, like that's kind of what they do. Because women are so helpful and we're so, capable, and just, we kind of like serve in a certain way where men don't. And so it's like an interesting thing that I do think they're open to feedback. If you go, hey, like, no, like I'm doing this, it's like, they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. But it's like, it just never even crossed their brain. Like maybe you're busy, you know?
Right. Well, and I started showing him some AI stuff, and that caused him to get excited. And now
Yeah.
he's gone and
Yeah.
built his own systems and things like that, and
Yeah.
didn't have to rely on me
That's
to do
nice.
that. So
Yeah. You're like, let me empower you to go do this.
exactly. And I think that as women, sometimes we don't. And, same with my team. I was telling you right before this that I just
Yeah.
handed over something really huge to one of our teammates because I need to empower her more
Yeah.
and let her explore and make mistakes. And so I gave her a project that was safe enough to do that with.
Yeah.
And my business, I also have an executive coach, and she told me recently, yeah, we've got the vision, we've got the things at the top that we want to shoot for, but
Mm-hmm.
we also need to raise the bottom floor. So what am I no longer going to tolerate?
Oh,
And that
yeah.
was an interesting question to sit with on what
Yeah.
was I not going to tolerate anymore, because I had this vision and I kept thinking, raising the roof there, but still holding things down here. So it was like I was
Yeah.
being pulled,
Yeah.
and it was really challenging. I had to make some really big decisions lately,
Mm,
and a variety of things. So yeah, when
yeah.
she asked me what I was going to stop tolerating, that
Yeah.
was pretty powerful.
Isn't it interesting though? Did you feel like when she asked you that, like some things came to mind really quickly?
They
Like
did.
you knew what they were?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. Of
Yeah.
course. And I
It
think
totally.
our intuition a lot of times is telling us something, and no, but I can do this, or no, that would be selfish to do this, or,
Mm,
but when we
yeah.
really, our gut tells us.
Yeah, or they're a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling one of my clients the other day because, a certain situation where there's like a really great, like young gal. We're kind of, she wanted an opportunity. We kind of use her in certain ways. And he's like, how do we use her? I go, well, I don't know. Like, it's like an extra person that I'm not sure we need, It's like, why should a company, like, why pay for that if you don't really need it? Like, what's the purpose? And I've, because a business, I don't believe just exists to provide jobs necessarily, right? But like if it's people who are, on mission and they're helping grow or taking things off your plate, whatever, like that's the point of having people around you. But I go, well, just because somebody's nice doesn't mean you need to employ them, And I think that those things happen a lot where it's like we feel guilty but people find their way. And sometimes they kind of know anyways, like, yeah, I wasn't sure like if this was really the right fit or whatnot. But those decisions are usually pretty tough ones, I think.
Yeah, for sure. What's the
Yeah.
biggest area you've seen where women are, well, I guess anyone, but
Yeah.
I speak mostly to women, where they're really seeing a revenue kind of seep, like it's seeping out, and
Mm,
they could cut it off and stop it.
yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Well, I actually think that probably a lot of the like women entrepreneurs and stuff that I've been talking to lately, it's not even necessarily that the revenue's already in, like the money's already in the bank and they're losing it maybe in a certain way, but they don't have the structures and things in place to like work the leads they have, like to
Mm.
market to them, to follow up with them, like the systems of like the sales system and like the marketing systems. I think that's huge. Another thing I see women do way more than I see men is they'll discount their services. Now,
Oh,
that's a quick way to lose revenue when you don't hold your value. And I have one gal who's in my coaching program, like my group coaching, and she was just like trucking along, but she's the sweetest and she coaches teens and young adults and like gets them ready for college and works on their confidence. Like this thing that she's helping kids do is life changing, and as a mother, you go, that's what I want my kids, to have these skills and have this confidence going out into the world, but she has such a big heart to serve people. And she was a former teacher, always discounting her stuff. And just that tweak, she's like, I've 3X'd my business.
Yeah.
And it's like the money was there all along. It was like you were not seeing your value.
Yeah.
So I think women actually struggle with that, probably more so than men. From what I've seen, I know men have worthiness issues and things just like, some women do, but that's a big piece of the puzzle.
100%. I was stuck
Yeah.
in that myself. And it's because, I thought, well, I can help people and I don't need that much. But it's like once I actually started charging more, we were able to do a better job,
Because you
you
have
know,
less clients,
and better
but you're paying
resources,
more.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
more people with creativity. And, like I mentioned earlier, the stuff that she came up with, I'm like, dang, that was better than what I would have done. And so
Yeah.
we serve clients better
Mm-hmm.
at the
Yeah.
higher price.
Yeah.
And
Well, and it's a different type of person. Like when you have higher ticket people, like I laugh because my coaching group's like 97 a month. And then like my monthly retainers, when I work with people like one-on-one, are like much higher ticket. And it's like, it's a monthly retainer. They have to pay me every month if they want me to work, and they get a ton of resources and stuff with it. But it's like, that is so much easier to sell than $97 a month. It's like, because it's a completely different dynamic. And it's not that I don't absolutely love the people in my coaching group. Like I love them, but I make fun of some of them sometimes because I'm like, do you remember how hard you were to close? And now you're here every week and your income's growing. But it's like, do you remember how hard of a decision that was for you? And they're like, oh my God, I know. So it doesn't mean that they're not amazing humans, but it's kind of interesting when you sell more high ticket. It's a different audience. And
yeah,
so it's a different work dynamic and a different emotional intelligence sometimes. And it's more fun a lot of times. Sometimes you get a little kooky people every once in a while, but, I guess that's all part of the learning curve too.
yeah, we now have a no jerks rule. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I have like an integrity clause in my contracts where I'm like, if you're a dirtbag, I'm out.
yes.
Yeah.
And, a hard lesson I had to learn was letting people pay late. I kept
Oh,
getting in that spot where I thought I was being nice,
mm,
letting them,
yeah.
pay late. Oh, they must have something wrong,
Yeah.
or then I would say, oh, well, maybe I don't deserve for them to pay me on time. And
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it was a super interesting thing to look at. My coach and I were working on it, and she was like,
Yeah.
I've been working with you for 8 years. I know how amazing you are. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it funny though, those stories that it's like, where did that come from? Like, where did that thought come from? And typically it's something like from a way long time ago that it's like, oh, yeah, it's interesting to uncover those things. And then you can kind of go, I don't really want to hold that belief anymore. It's not
Yeah.
serving me. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's funny because for me, I pay on time. Like
Totally.
I want
Yeah.
to pay my team members on time, and so I'll even, it was just amazing that I was tolerating that. Like, why was
Well,
I
that's one of the
tolerating
things,
that?
right? I was going to say that's something that's like not up to your standards. Yeah. And me and my husband, we do the same because we're like, we believe what we put out is what we want to receive. We want to work with people that pay on time when they get the bill. They're like, put it on auto, like just charge me every month, like whatever. It's that's fun because I'm like, if we're distracted by like payments, then we can't focus on the work that we're doing. So it's like, pay your bill. I don't want to chase you about paying me. Like, let's just take that part off the table and just agree that that's the way it's going to be. But yeah, I love that. You're like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Well, I
Yeah.
started looking at it, and energetically speaking, it was off because I think subconsciously I was like,
Yeah.
they still haven't paid yet. Are they gonna? They're gonna
Yeah.
ghost
And then
me?
we have a resentment almost like, well, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see if they're going to come through.
And so energetically, it just doesn't make sense. And so,
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
stopped doing that.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I know I had one guy last year that it was always like pulling teeth. And then can you split the bill and this and that? And I was like, I'm getting rid of him as a client. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I don't care what he pays me, whatever. And he stiffed me on the final bill. And like, I even, did collections and everything on him. Nothing. And I was like, lesson learned. Like, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
If that's going to be kind of a big obstacle for them, it's like not somebody that I want to spend my time with.
Yeah. We always have an energy check as well. Like when we start working with someone, because I
Yeah.
need to make sure there's no desperation
Mm.
behind there, because I've just not seen it work out well when people are desperate for it to work.
Yes. Yeah.
Urgent
Or
and desperate are two separate things.
totally. Yeah. Or if it's like, I kind of have a thing too in like my higher level stuff where I'm like, your business kind of has to be making a certain amount of revenue, because like it's that same thing. It's like, I don't want this to be like stressful, because it's like, and I'm not like, I have seen people in like the coaching space that charge insane amounts for certain things that like say we do. Like I've seen people sell CRMs for 15 grand and I'm like what? Like, huh? Like for what? What are they getting for that? Like, so it's not like we're not doing that in our company, but yeah, but it's like for what we do a lot. And I think it's it's a great value, like both ways, but it's like your company has to be generating revenue. Cause if you're only making a couple $1,000s a month or 5,000, even 10, and you have a $3,000 or $4,000 a month retainer, it's like, that's like almost half of your revenue. Like that doesn't feel like that's stressful. So it's like, go build your business or get into my, group coaching, build your revenue, and then we can talk. But I think that's a real thing too, just like making sure they have the funds to invest. It kind of helps kind of get rid of all that whole conversation, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because the energetics behind it and there are universal laws at play with that.
Totally.
I mean, so
Yeah.
yeah, we could probably
Yeah.
have an entire episode just on that.
Oh, I know. I'm a huge believer in all of that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What is the best advice that you were given early on in your career? Like
Mm.
what's something that still sticks with you?
Yeah, it like came up immediately. I had a mentor tell me one time, like success is not convenient. And when you're in the building phase, and I have also been through burnout, like I mean, like true burnout, like where my body was like not healthy because of how I was working. Which was before what I'm doing now. But yeah, she told me, she's like, success isn't convenient. Cause I was like, well, they can only talk on the phone at this time. Like when you think about working sales and leads and stuff, and you're really trying to like make a go of it and grow. And she's like, well, honey, and she was older than me. She was hilarious, but she's like, well, honey, success isn't convenient. Like sometimes, it doesn't mean that you have to do it all the time, but sometimes you got to make it work. And it's like, I think about that all the time when there's like, I'm already downstairs for the night, like office is closed up upstairs. And I'm like, gosh, I forgot about that. And then it's like, I really don't want to. I'd rather just kind of like hang out. But it's like, it doesn't take that long. It's like success isn't convenient. I'm going to go do that thing. Or like, I don't really want to call that person. It's like, well, it's not convenient. If we let our feelings, and our emotions dictate our behavior, we would never grow at all because we would just stay right where we are.
Yeah, it's moments like that that keeping your why in the forefront
Mm-hmm.
is really important, because there are a lot of times when you're like, I just don't feel like doing that.
No. It's like, yeah, wouldn't we all just love to like totally unplug and go do all the fun things? Like, of course we would. But it's like, yeah, if you really truly want to do what you say you want, like really build the business, really create the revenue, the impact, all those things, it's like, it's going to take some stuff that's uncomfortable most of the time, you know? So
Yeah, and I know that you can grow your business to a point where you are able to go do all those fun things,
totally. Yeah.
but you didn't hop there overnight.
No, no.
And
Anybody that thinks of an overnight success as a real thing, it's like, it's not.
yeah,
Like, it's not. Somebody didn't just delegate everything to AI and make $3 million overnight. Like, that's just, it's like, it doesn't happen. That's not reality.
yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
it's also about the person you are. Like you have to be someone different at a six-figure level than you do $1 million level. Those are
Yeah.
completely different versions of yourself. And I don't
Yeah.
think people really see that until they're there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I can't remember exactly how this guy said it, but it was basically like who you are today, if you were just given everything that you want, like in the future, and you were just given to it, like instantly, like you had it. Like say you have like $100,000 business and you're like, we're given $1 million business and everything that entails, it would go like it would be fleeting because you're not the person yet who has grown into that position to handle it and to keep it and to run it, And so I think that's a really interesting thing because sometimes the growth trajectory feels like, ooh, it's like all over the place. And, we learn and we grow and we stay after it and we keep showing up. But that refinement along the way is turning us into the person who can hold the business that's making $1 million or $100 million or whatever that looks like. But it's like, you're not there yet. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you can't get there, but it just means like today you're not that version of yourself. So that's why it's important, to always continue growing.
Yes, 100%. And it's been interesting to watch on myself because I played small really for the most of my career.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got hired by one of our clients at the time to come inside. And I was like, you know what? That would actually be kind of nice to
Yeah.
not chase invoices, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Long story short, got laid off twice within 2 years. And I thought, this feels awful.
Yeah.
I am, I don't need to think small anymore. I'm
Yeah.
going to go create something where I can really make a huge impact. And it was amazing. Before I had gotten laid off, I thought that getting to that $8,033 a month
Yep.
was impossible.
Yep. The million a year. That's the
Yeah,
magic number. Yeah.
I thought it was impossible. And then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, six figures actually came pretty easily. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, now I see what they're saying, that like, it's
I
really
know.
not that hard.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Bob Proctor at all? I mean, he's gone now, but he was huge in the personal development space for years and years and years. He was a
Oh,
part of The
yes.
Secret. But he was the first person I really studied in the personal development space. And I remember him talking about that stuff. He said, just make it look small. Just make it small. And that's really what it is just in our mind, we're making something so much bigger than it really is. But it's funny because you see people who are making a lot of money and it's like, they're not smarter than me. They're not more talented than me. They might live in like nowhere, South Dakota, it's not their location, but it's like, there's something about them that they're in agreement with that I am not yet in agreement with. But, those two things, I love that. I was telling my husband that the other day because, our business, we started it just under 2 years ago.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. But it's funny. I was working in a company too, and I would do what I do now, but for one person. And I would go in and we'd run operations and I would do sales and marketing and branding and like events and all that stuff. And I remember it was like such a toxic place, but it was really just a stepping stone from where I was to like where we are now. But I remember it was so clear in my mind of like, go build the thing that you want to work in, because we can only change so much in somebody else's company. But anyways, my point to kind of tie that all up is our company, we've been kind of figuring it out, even though like we know our skill set, but then figuring out, how do I market myself? What is our offer? How do we generate leads for this? Do people get it? Do we get it? Can we explain it? And so growing to that place where you're like, okay, we feel stable. But now we're like, okay, now we really want to turn it up. But it's that, like you said, like 6 figures a month, it doesn't really have to be that hard, but it's just unlocking those pieces, right? And I was telling him, I go, we just got to make it look small. Make it look small,
Yeah. And,
But
I used to see other people on social media and like their wins and go, oh man, why can't I have that? But
yeah,
now it's a lot of inside work and I've been able to go where I see those and I go, that's what's possible. Yes.
totally. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it makes such a huge difference when you can start looking at things that way instead of
Yeah.
jealousy or thinking you're not enough yet, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Or like, what do they have figured out that I don't, And then, I mean, there's the piece of me is probably the skeptic just from being in this space for a long time. I'm like, they're lying. They're all full of it. That's fake.
I will say on some of those that I've seen, I'm like, there's no way in 30
There's
days you went from 0 to 7 figures.
Yeah,
Like,
no, you did not. Yeah, I know. And then it's funny, I saw this thing the other day on Instagram that was like, oh, like, how hard am I on myself? Well, it was like, I'm comparing myself to like a 50-year-old man with a hedge fund, like all this stuff. It was like, and then here's me just like doing my thing at my computer, but it's like, I'm comparing myself to like that person. Like, how hard am I on myself? Right there. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it was I think it was Natalie Ellis from Boss Babe who she posted sometime last year, I think, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that made so much sense to me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
100%."
Yeah, I
Um,
know. It's funny how we do that. But, I feel like one of the most like everybody's heard, comparison is the thief of joy. And I was telling that actually to my daughter the other day because, she's 14 and we were talking through all the life stuff or whatever. But I thought we do that all the time as adults, like, oh, well, they have that and we don't, or oh, they just got a new car and well, we don't.
yes, the comparison is just insane. And I think sometimes too, we even compare ourselves against men and
Totally.
we don't
Yeah.
realize like we've got all this stuff that we're still handling in the background, especially if we
Yeah.
haven't had that conversation with our spouse. So like, hey,
Yeah.
you got to step up. Or if you don't even have a spouse, you are having to carry it
Totally.
all. So
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too. I've looked more and more into this, like in the last maybe 6 months to a year, but just like women with like our hormone cycles and like how we work and like when's like the most optimal time to work and to be creative and then to maybe like kind of wrap things up and kind of chill out for a couple days if we can. But it's men, they're a 24-hour cycle.
yeah,
And then we're a 28-day cycle typically, so it's really interesting too to like biologically how different we are, but then the world runs on how men are designed.
yeah,
And so it's kind of interesting, but it's cool, I think, when you run your own business, because you can kind of like, you can change it up like how you need to, like if you have the flexibility to do that. But that's been something like when we created this business, I was very like, we're going to grow this intentionally and we're
yes,
not going to grow it like the hustle craze, the guys out there sure out there like get up at 4 a.m. and blah blah blah. And it's like I like that stuff because like I can kind of lean towards that and I'm an achiever and all of that. But the older I get, I'm like, that's not healthy. And
yeah,
it's like not for me. Like men, great, go do that, whatever. But it's like that doesn't really work for me, like for the sustainability factor. So
yeah,
I think it's in,
100%.
yeah. And it's like if
I,
people could understand that a little bit more, that we are different than men. We are very different. So yeah, don't compare yourself to them.
Well, and it's also figuring out what works for you because, like,
Totally.
I saw everybody cold plunging, and I thought, well, maybe I should cold plunge in the
Right?
morning.
Should I do that?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
okay. And so, then I started to dig into it a little bit more, like, what's the science behind why it works? And turns out that for somebody like me, that's not really a great idea because of my nervous system. That
Mm,
wouldn't be a good idea because
yeah.
I have food allergies and I'm histamine
Oh,
intolerant and like
oh,
all
geez.
these other things
Yeah.
that are very nervous system based. And so the more I studied it, I was like, ooh, actually cold plunge, not a good idea for
Yeah.
me.
You're like,
Sauna,
thank
yes.
God.
But
Yeah. No, I'm kind of a rebel. So when I see something like, or I don't even know if it's rebel. I'm defiant. So
yeah.
it's like just like naturally as a human. So I'm like, if everybody's doing it, I'm like, that's dumb. Like it could be the best thing in the world for me, and I'm like, not doing it. So I think the closest I came to a cold plunge was I got in my pool once when it was like cold, like in the winter. And like that was it. And I was like, that's stupid. I'm never doing that again. But some people swear by them. So it's like, hey, if that works for you,
Yeah.
great. Go
Yep.
for it.
I can do the face dunking. Like I
Oh
can do
yeah.
that. That helps wake me up.
Yeah.
But the whole
But once
body,
it gets
no.
to my waist, like I'm out. Like I'm not interested.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, it's
Exactly.
funny.
So when it comes to leadership, that's been something that as I've grown my team, I've had to really discover who I am as a leader and,
Mm,
what skills do I need and that sort of thing.
yeah.
What is some of the best leadership advice you've gotten given?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of back to like when leadership really kind of became a thing for me, like actually leading people. And so I think there's unconscious leadership where you're like in a place of like positional authority. And then there's like, you might be still like in a position of authority, like the leader of the team or the boss or whatever, but actually leading people versus just managing them and telling them what to do. It's like very different. I know that, like John Maxwell is kind of known as like the leadership guy, but his stuff is, I think, very, it's very vague, very broad strokes. I think it's a great starting place, but one thing that probably was one of the best books that I listened to, because it's boring. It's very boring, but the content is very good, is, oh gosh, why? Now I'm completely blanking it. It's by Jim Dethmer. I'm completely blanking on this. I should like Google it really quick.
That's funny. I'll have to put it in the notes so that we can reference
Yes.
it.
No, I'm like,
I'm
hero,
terrible
this
with
might
book
be.
titles, and I'm terrible with names as well. I can recognize faces and see things, but yeah.
Yes. Okay. Meh. It's Jim Dethmer. I was thinking of like high performance habits, but I was like, no, that's Brendon Burchard. But it's the 15 commitments of conscious leadership.
Oh,
And
I haven't heard of that one.
it's an incredible book. And I really started to dive into that when I was in network marketing. I had a team of like 100 people under me and like
Oh my gosh.
over 3,000 clients. Like, yeah, like I built it to, and I was like 30 years old.
That's
And
a
so
lot.
it was, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But it was wild because I also think it's really cool to know, like, even like your most basic kind of personality or behavioral styles, like on the disc. Like, I don't know if you're
Oh yeah.
I would assume, most people are generally familiar with that, but like I'm a high D I personality. And so that high D, when I'm in work mode, I will bulldoze over people all day long. And so I found that the better that I knew myself and like how I naturally want to behave, the thing is, though, is like the majority of the population is S personalities, which need support, they need security. They really care about people. They need a little bit slower paced. Well, if I'm fast paced and task oriented, I'm going to ruin all those relationships.
Yeah.
So I think that the combination of those two things was huge. So it's like, I think we have to really owe it to the people that we're leading to know ourselves so that we can maybe pivot a little bit when we're leading others. Like, I know that's kind of like a little bit deeper than just like a basic leadership principle, but that was huge. And that was also massive for my marriage. Like knowing me and my husband, knowing each other's styles, because we work together on a lot of stuff. So it's really important to kind of know like what are the tripwires in these communication patterns, So yeah, that was
100%.
huge.
I use a lot of human design in what we do as well. So like I know that I'm a manifestor generator, and so I sometimes could like just project all this stuff, but then somebody who's an actual projector is going to be like, I don't get it. And
Is this
so
too much? Why are you moving on from this already? Like,
exactly. And you've got to learn how to communicate. And so I've studied the Enneagram, DISC, all those. And at first when I started, like, you would see these personality tests and you're like, what is this for even? And you're right. Once you know how you need to communicate with someone, it makes it so much easier.
Oh yeah. And if you can really like the disc was the first one that I really like learned thoroughly. So you can kind of pick up on people's styles, even with like how they dress and how they show up and if they talk with their hands and, all of these things. If you can kind of get that figured out, man, you can move so much quicker with people because most stuff gets stuck in communication. It's like bad communication patterns. So, I think that's like a really important thing. And anybody who says, because I've had some clients that are like, oh, I totally turned my nose up at that and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but then they came around to it, but it's like, why? Like that's the ego, right? When you're like, I don't need that. That stuff's all stupid, blah, 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 because it's unfamiliar. But it's like, maybe embrace it a little bit. And it doesn't mean that it's woo woo. It's just like more feedback. Human design, I think, is the one who like kind of encompasses everything, really, doesn't it? Like
that's how I take it. Just how was I created as a human being?
Yeah. Yeah. So. I actually just bought a book by a gal. I haven't opened it yet, but it's on human design because I feel like I don't know it as thorough as like, because there's so much to it. Like it's very, very like all the gates and the this and the that. And it's like, what does all this even mean? But I think the first thing is we have to be able to know ourselves and lead ourselves well before we could ever lead somebody else, because people sniff that stuff out so fast. If you're like, you need to do this and this and this, they're going to go, but you're not doing it. Like, you don't do any of those things. So I think that's really important too. Like, when you're leading a team, like, you have to be showing up at a higher level than anybody on your team.
Well, and I'm learning from one of our clients too that, managing your own nervous system, the team will pick up on that if you're
Oh,
not managing it. And then it will just, it's like a cancer and it can ruin
yeah.
everything. So it's
Yeah.
not selfish to manage your own nervous system.
Yeah, totally. That's like, so our company, we have a teammate that we actually bought out her company. She had a massive like branding company, but she was just on her own, built this huge company. She was so burned out because it was all on her. And so she was just like, I love what y'all are doing. Like, I would love to sell you my business. But so it's very like with our team, like, we don't micromanage her. Like, if she's like, hey, I have family coming into town, and like, I'll get anything done that you need, but like, just let me know. It's like she has that autonomy to like create her schedule because she's incredible and she performs and all of that. But it's like it just kind of goes to that like nervous system stuff too. It's like, we don't need to be causing the people on our team that we love, that we want to work with, like, undue stress because they're not maybe in a certain box. Like, the world says, like, if you have an employee, they should be doing this. It's like, I trust her. Like, like, I want her to feel healthy in my company. It's like, in that book, that actually, the conscious leadership book, the 15 commitments, it talks about a lot of that too. It kind of shows you like two different types of leaders, and just how their people are and their performance that they get out of their teams and stuff like that. It's really, really interesting.
I'm going to check that one out. I hadn't
Yeah.
heard of that one. I'm surprised I hadn't
Yeah.
heard of it,
I
honestly.
know, I'd never heard of the guy either. But the company that I was with, they brought him in to do like leadership training and stuff, kind of like with the higher level leaders. And yeah, it really has some good stuff, like challenges you. And he talks a lot about the emotions and holding that stuff in our bodies and all that
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So it goes into all of that. Yeah, you'd probably like it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because of the nervous system issue, I do like pay attention to my body more, and I can
Yeah.
tell when it's making a decision before my brain has made the decision, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna totally pick up that book because it'll be helpful,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's great. Well, and then with the human design stuff, I'm a manifesting generator too. But it's like, okay, is that like my gut? Like, am I making my decision from there? It's just kind of like all that stuff, just kind of like tuning in on your body too, and like, okay, where is that really, like, coming from?
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Well, where can people connect with you or reach out to you?
yeah.
Join your group?
Yeah, yeah. So the revenueagency.com is our website. It gives like a really good rundown. We're really basically, like, how I would put it simply, is we're a business growth firm. So we can do, probably you and I probably cross over quite a bit in the
Yeah,
services and stuff. Maybe we just do it a little bit different way. But yeah, I really, at the heart of everything I do is to help people make more money, because that's what we're all trying to do. And then when good people have that, they can go make a bigger impact. So
yes,
therevenueagency.com, you can contact us through there. Also, like, follow me on social media, Instagram. It's just the Brittney Hall. My name's spelled a little bit different, so make sure you pay attention to that. But yeah, that's probably the best way to get a hold of us.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Brittany, it's been a pleasure getting to go back and forth. It flew
Yeah.
by for
I
me,
know. I'm
and
like, how did that happen? This was a great conversation. Thank you.
yeah, and I know, like I said at the beginning, I always have questions ready just in case, but I didn't even need to reference them. The conversation
Oh,
just flowed. So thank you so
yeah.
much for being a guest.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.